Welcome, everyone, to the How to Get the Most Out of College podcast. There's a lot of talk about where to go to college, but not nearly enough about how to go to college. And it's the everyday decisions that drive your success. I'm your host, Elliot Felix. I've been a consultant to more than 100 colleges and universities, helping them improve their student experience. And I'm the author of How to Get the Most Out of College, where I take what I've learned about how college works and make it work for you. And today, I'm super excited that we're joined by Lizbeth Parra, who's a student at TCNJ, the College of New Jersey, and was also part of Bright Spot's Council of Student Advisors, the first cohort that we had a couple of years ago that was about teaching a group of students design thinking to empower people that wanted to make change on their campuses across the country, and then benefiting from their advice and accountability as a kind of advisory board for us. And Lizbeth had so many amazing insights on the council and in interviews for my book that I know we're all going to learn a lot today. And in particular, we're going to dive into the topic of studying abroad and the first gen experience. Welcome, Lizbeth.
Hi, Elliot. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, as you said already, I attend the College of New Jersey. Is located in Ewing, New Jersey. A lot of people don't know where that is. It's by Trenton, like 10 minutes away. I'm a double major in political science and international studies. And I am also part of an organization called Ignite on my campus. We focus on empowering women to become politically aware and active. And as you already know, previously last semester, I spent 4 months studying abroad in Argentina.
That's awesome. Did you start that or co-start that Ignite chapter? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, I did.
I feel like when we talked about the book, one of your pieces of advice for students was if you don't see an organization on your campus, that's your chance to start it. So
Yeah.
I love that. So tell us about studying in Argentina. What was that like?
It was amazing. I was very nervous throughout the entire process. I was scared of what to expect, if I was going to get along with everyone that I was going to be studying abroad because I knew no one. Like my peers and I, we were all from different states. And that was something that made me very nervous, and the whole concept of living with host families and having classes completely in Spanish because I went to Argentina, all our classes, our homework, all the readings, everything was in Spanish. And I already speak Spanish, but I I've never experienced it like reading as much as we were reading in those classes. So I was definitely very nervous, but I loved it. It was amazing. And I'm glad that I came in with no expectations because I feel like if I would have, they definitely exceeded them. Everyone that I met and everything that I did, it was phenomenal. And I even had the chance to do an internship over there, and I got to focus on things that align with my values and things that I want to do in the future in terms of like human rights. And I feel like I definitely had the chance to work with an organization, the organization that I worked for over there. It definitely aligned with my values and everything that I believe and want to do. So that was definitely something that I did not expect to do that much with the internship, but I loved it. It was amazing. And they gave me so much freedom to work on something that I was passionate about, and they listened to me. And I loved all of it.
That's amazing. It sounds like the human rights internship was one of the highlights. What were some of the others?
Definitely the way that they taught our courses. The program that I studied abroad is called SIT Study Abroad. It's a master school. SIT is a master school that focuses on international training, but they also offer study abroad opportunities for undergrad students. And their teaching method is called experimental learning experience. And we do a lot of work. We had classes for hours, but everything that we learned about in classes, we also incorporated it during our trips. We traveled a lot. We visited many different provinces, and we visited Uruguay too. So like for example, when we visited Uruguay, we focused a lot on like sustainability, and one thing that we did was we visited a school that was made completely out of glass bottles and the way their light system worked, and it was just so interesting to see that because we were reading about it in class, and it sounded very political, but, like, seeing it when we went to visit and seeing all the students and, like, how they did this, it was all very amazing, and I feel like everything that I learned made much sense once I was able to see it in person and interact with the teachers and the students.
That's great. How did you said you started off nervous and scared, which I don't blame you. A new place, studying in a new way without knowing anybody. How did you get over your fears, your nervousness? What can our listeners maybe learn? Do you have any tricks?
Yes, I would definitely say that the people that helped me while I was preparing to study abroad, like throughout the entire process, I had a great support system. My academic advisors, my scholarship advisors, they always made sure to help me because one thing I was very nervous about was like, okay, so how do I make sure that I'm still doing everything I need to do, like back home? And just like them checking up on me, like, "Hi, like, how are you doing? How's everything?" It made me, like it made me feel so much more calm and just prepared about what to expect also once I got back. And then also the support system that we had once we arrived, the directors that we had for the program. They were all very nice. At any time that we needed help with anything, they made sure that we got what we needed. And my host family too. I definitely feel like my host family had a big part in me feeling comfortable and that I had everything that I needed over there. And I feel like the directors of the program also definitely heard my what I needed and when it came to deciding host families there were certain things that were very specific for me to feel comfortable, and when I was, like, presented with my host family, I feel like they definitely considered that, so I feel like that's something that made me feel very good and comfortable about the program, and also, it was a small group, it was only 9 of us at the study abroad program, and we all learned from each other, and I feel like that gave us room to all learn more and grow together.
So you had the supportive host family, you had support back home, people checking up, and a small group where you could help each other. That sounds like a good combination.
Yes.
So you're staying with a host family. Did you have a choice between that housing arrangement versus like a residence hall or a dorm on the campus, or was it all that was pretty much what everyone was doing?
Yeah, so everyone had to live with a host family because it's not an actual it wasn't SIT wasn't an actual, like, institution. They have their offices at another institution, and they made sure that our host families lived near the institution. So I live 5 minutes walking from the
Oh,
institution.
wow.
Yes, I did. So it was very close. We were also very close to the transportation, so the train station was literally in the corner of where I lived at, and even though we couldn't have the option to, like, stay at a residence hall, they made sure to keep all those things in mind, and then since we were also traveling a lot, we spent almost a month traveling, we didn't have our host
Right.
family during that time, so they
Right.
accommodated hotels every time that we went to travel to a different province, or when we went to Uruguay for a week, like, we were just all staying in hotel rooms.
Right. So you spent a lot of time traveling too then.
Yes.
That's awesome. That sounds like that was one of the highlights too. So why should other students study abroad? Why would you recommend doing it?
I definitely feel like you get a different perspective of the world. As I said earlier, I'm a very like visual learner, and a lot of the things that I read about in my political science courses and international studies courses are things that have to do with different parts of the world. And I feel like studying abroad helped me see that, and it felt much more real. And I feel like it's definitely important to see life through the lens of another country because it's not just the United States. And I feel like living in another country, you get the opportunity to experience different culture, meet different people, you learn about I don't want to say you learn about life in a different perspective, but you definitely get to see things in different perspectives. And I feel like that's very important. And it's something that changes you Plus, you get to live in a whole other country with people that you don't know. It gives you it's like space for growth. And if you want to like try something else in terms of like yourself, find who you are, you have the chance to do it because no one knows you.
That's an interesting point. You get a clean slate to try new things.
Yes, and just create like new habits for yourself. And I definitely feel like being abroad gave me that opportunity. And I just came back in my classes. Once I'm back in my classes, things that we speak about or we're learning about, I'm able to like, oh, I understand this because I was able to see it while I was abroad. And I definitely feel like that's something very important and that many more students should experience.
That's great. You mentioned that it changes you. How did studying abroad change you?
I definitely think now that I'm less scared about a lot of things, and I feel a little more confident. Like, in my classes, I was very nervous to sometimes speak about things because I don't sound as smart as some of my peers, but, like, being abroad and having that experience, I'm able to, like, make connections, and those connections, even though I'm not sounding, like, or using as many big words as my other peers are, I definitely am making that connection, and also it just I've always said that I would always everything that I do, I somehow want to help others, and just last week, for example, was part of a panel, and my school asked me if I wanted to speak with them about studying abroad. And just like knowing that I can give that sense of comfort and confidence to someone to study abroad because it does seem very scary. But once you do it, all the application process, scholarship process, all of that definitely becomes worth it because you just end up experiencing something that a lot of people definitely should, but because of the fear of not knowing how and where to start, a lot of times we end up holding ourselves back.
Yeah, I get that. And you mentioned worth it. And one study I read recently talked about students who study abroad while controlling for other factors like major and income and so forth. Students who study abroad find a 5 to 12% higher salary after graduation. So I hope you receive that as
Yeah.
well. So you said people don't know where to start. I think that would be a great way for us to finish would be for you to walk us through where do you start if you're thinking about studying abroad? Take us through the process.
Yes, of course. I would definitely say speak with your academic advisor because then they'll be able to help you figure out what programs would meet any requirements that you have to meet for your major for your classes. And then also set up a meeting with any like studying abroad office on your campus and just letting them know that you're interested in studying abroad when and then what happened with me was I was given a advisor from the study abroad office, and they worked with me throughout the entire process. And in fact, they also like I told them how important scholarships were for me to study abroad because I could not afford studying abroad and I did not want to take out a loan. And they ended up sending me different scholarships that I was able to apply to, and I ended up getting all of them, so that was really good.
Amazing.
Yes, it was amazing. And they're able to like just create a plan that's specifically towards you and help you figure out, okay, so these are the next steps. This is what you need to do. And you just have someone along every single step who you can ask questions to and who can be there to help you with anything that you might need. So I definitely feel like going to the global engagement office, that's what it's called in my school, and then just speaking with someone, like any professor or advisor that you trust, to write you a recommendation letter. A lot of scholarship applications or just studying abroad applications ask for recommendation letters. So just speaking with someone ahead of time so you're able to get that recommendation letter for your application.
That's great advice. As we wrap up, I would love to hear your final bit of advice for students that are thinking about studying abroad. What's the one thing you think they should do to get the most out of the experience?
I would definitely say just even if you're considering it, do it a lot. I know a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I regret not studying abroad," and they wish they would have gone through with it. So even if you feel like you can't do it during a full semester, they have J terms, which is like during winter break or during the summer. So I would definitely say just do it because there's so much money in terms of scholarships to study abroad. There's so many scholarships that students might not know about on their campuses. And a lot of institutions want their students to study abroad, and the money is just there. So I would definitely say do it because it will be a great experience. And like you just will grow so much and you will learn so much.
That is great advice on how to get the most out of college. And I'm not surprised, Lizbeth, because every conversation I learned so much from you. And I really appreciate your insights, whether it was on our council or for the book or today about studying abroad. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Elliot.
Thanks everyone for listening. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And check out elliottfelix.com for all the episodes and the articles I've written, talks I've given, and more information about the book.